Welcome back to the Virtual Antics podcast. I'm your host, Natalie, and today I have Inbal with me. I'm so excited for you guys to hear from her because she is the founder of Like-Minded Collective, which is a free social networking platform for dreamers, creators, and female founders. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Natalie.
So excited you're here. Can you tell me a little bit about, who you are and how you got started?
Sure. So I am originally from Israel and mostly grew up in Orange County, California, where I actually met my husband. He was special operator in the Marine Corps. So we moved to North Carolina for 4 years and are back in Orange County. So very happy about that. Ever since I was 16 years old, I worked 2 to 3 jobs at a time. And I quickly realized that I just wanted to work on my own. I wanted to start something on my own. I always had that were most of the time shot down. And I just hated that. So eventually ended up starting a candle company and my husband and I were dating and it was going really well. We were doing shows and farmers markets. And then I realized that I needed to pivot when my first daughter was born. As I'm sure a lot of your listeners know, you can't do farmers markets and shows with a newborn. It just doesn't work. And I just didn't know how to do that. So I started to research, I started to go on Facebook groups, and I just realized that there were so many rules and restrictions and algorithms, and the search feature was horrible, and people were charging an arm and a leg. And I just realized there are millions of women like myself that need a place to build friendships before business and to just grow their business and have resources. So that's why I started Like-Minded Collective, which we can talk about more, but I am a mom of 3. I have 2 little girls and I just had a little boy 7.5 weeks ago. So super excited about that. And our family is complete.
That's awesome, man. You sound just like being busy, balancing, motherhood and business. And I think that's so cool that you essentially created a place where female entrepreneurs can really, collaborate and grow with one another and make friends, because it's so hard being a mom and an entrepreneur. I always say that the loneliest job is being an entrepreneur and a mom, because
yeah. And I think because too, women are so self-conscious about nursing and having kids in the back. I can't even explain to you how many times moms will apologize, when we're in a workshop and I'm like, never apologize, you can be here. If you need to be off camera, if you need to be on mute, that's totally fine. But you're showing up and that's what's most important. And I felt like there had to be free resources, right? So we do free networking, we do free workshops, a free community. So yeah, it's so lonely. And when you have women who are like you, it just makes business and life so much easier.
Yeah. And it's crazy how fast you can grow your business with networking. I started my first business, which is the virtual assistant agency. Well, not my first business, but the first one that I currently own. And that one, I grew organically to 6 figures in 3 months, all from networking. So that just shows you the power that your platform has to really grow and also taking that initiative to put yourself out there and connect with people. You can sign up for this platform, but it's not going to do anything for you unless you put in work and you put yourself out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And people say what steps should somebody take? I'm like, just show up. Yeah. Just show up, just hit log on to Zoom or sign in or join, and everything else will just come organically. We do prompted questions. All the women there will welcome you with open arms. And it's just a great way to talk about your business. And this is another reason why the way we do things is a little different on Like-Minded, because Facebook groups, you're not allowed to post about your business. You can only post on Saturdays. You cannot post links. You can't share this. It's that's insane. People have to talk about their business. What if you have a business that somebody needs, right? So that's why I just made sure there's always networking opportunities. You can always go on camera to introduce yourself. You can always post about your business in the feed. Yeah, you have to talk about your business and you have to make connections. That's the only way to grow, right? If you network and you talk about your business.
That's so funny you said that, because I got in trouble in a group recently. It was an introduction post for a podcasting group. And I literally just said, hey, my name's Natalie. I own a marketing agency and a virtual assistant agency, and I have a podcast. And they said, you cannot promote your business. I was like, I didn't say my business name. I didn't say what type of marketing services or who I served. I said what I owned, and I got in trouble. So So I love
That's when you leave the group.
I lost my money. That was a membership group too. So
That's the thing, like you're paying for something. Like I know that there's groups where you have to pay to post about your business, you know? So listen, like I think people should charge for services. I think people should charge for their time, but if it's a community networking platform or group, there is absolutely no reason that somebody shouldn't be able to promote their business. It is just insane. And it's happening all across the internet. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Yeah, me too. And it's so hard to keep track of all the rules. Like I'm a rule follower at heart. Like I'm that type A personality. I don't want to break your rules. And I had to ask her and I was like, can you explain what I did? I don't understand. She's like, you said you own this. And I was like, okay, I guess that it makes sense in your eyes. But yeah, I love that. It also, when you put rules like that, it makes it like not inclusive. Like it's not that supportive vibe that you need as a mom and an entrepreneur. Like we need support. We don't need, rules, regulations, bashing, those type of things. So I think it's really cool that you provide the safe environment for women. Do you have any like success stories about any of your members that maybe stands out to you?
Yeah, I mean, so many. There's connections being made every single day, multiple times a day. I've had women connect to do collaborations. I've had women connect to give referrals. I've had women connect to meet in real life for like cocktail. Women are doing podcast swaps all over the platform. It's just constantly happening. And the best part, kind of going back to what you were saying, and then we can drop this topic because it's like such a trigger for me. But I think it goes back to like children, right? If you tell somebody, don't do this, then they're going to go around behind your back and do it anyways in a weird way, right? But if you're like, do whatever you want, like obviously within reason, but like post about your business, like we don't have any restrictions and people are very like respectful, they don't spam the feed. They don't spam messages. They post when it feels good for them. And that's what makes it different, right? Because if you restrict, then people are going to like, and you've seen people ask these like weird questions in Facebook groups, right? We're like, I know what you're doing. I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the success stories, there's so many. Like I said, we do networking events. There's like 30 plus people on there. We do workshops. And so you always have people introduce their business just for networking opportunities, but also I think it's great practice to do a 30-second pitch, whenever somebody asks. So we do that every workshop. And we also have brainstorming sessions. So there's always people collaborating and meeting up and exchanging contact information. So it's happening every day.
That's so cool. I love that. And I love, groups that have the multiple type of like workshops. Like the workshops, you have the brainstorming, you have networking. And I think those are really important because maybe you're an introvert, right? So having the workshops are really great because you're learning something, but you could be in the chat talking to someone, or maybe you're like, oh, I like that person. You message them or you talk to them on a Facebook post or something like that. So I think it's really cool. I know I have a friend that is an entrepreneur as well. And she contacted me the first time. She was like, I'm usually an introvert. I don't usually reach out to people, but what you said really connected with me. And we've been friends for 6 years and we met on online groups such as yours. So I think that is so cool that, you've really created this place to form connections and relationships and business opportunities even, right?
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, you can go into networking events and there's like 100 people in there. So what we do usually is everybody does like a very quick introduction. And then I break you up into smaller groups. So like for the people who are introverts, it's a lot easier to talk to like 3 or 4 people with a prompted question as opposed to like a full on like kind of interject in 100-person room, right? So the way we do things is a little bit more catered to building those genuine relationships. And the best way to do that is in smaller groups. The small group brainstorming sessions we do too, like you get broken up into groups of 4, just so you have like 15 minutes at least to go through problems in your business. And that's in the paid subscription, but everything else is just like smaller groups because it's more intimate. And that's how you really build connections.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. So I have a question. So when it comes to like your workshops, are they able to watch them later or are they always live? How's your format?
Yeah. So Up until the end of this month, I don't know when this is going to air, but we're in May. We've had weekly workshops for about a year and a half. So we have a whole database that's categorized with workshops on the platform that you can click on whenever you want. And that's a part of the paid subscription. You can join live for free, but all the workshops are in the paid subscription.
That's awesome. And that's definitely worth it, especially if you have young kids, because then you can go back, you can stop it, you can pause, you can reflect. And also I'm one of those people that hates watching a movie twice or a TV show, but I've been learning. I have a older gentleman who's a millionaire, and he's a friend of mine, and he taught me that you should always reread and rewatch, because you're going to learn something each time that you do it. And so I think it's really important to kind of have that library so you can always rewatch it, relearn. And especially if you have kids, you're going to miss at least 10 things any video you watch.
I know 100%. I personally like to watch it on 2x speed, and then you can watch it twice in the same amount of time as regular, but I think it's good to have, because first of all, you're going to pivot your business. We all do, right? So when you pivot, you like most likely are going to rework your niche, rework your messaging. And so you can go back to these workshops that talk about how to find your niche, to talk about branding and messaging and value propositions and, web design and all of that, because they're always going to be there for you. So that was super, super important for me, is to have this library, and it's categorized. Yeah. It's like Pinterest, lead generation, mindset, money, time blocking, branding, marketing, affiliate marketing. I mean, literally we have 50 plus workshops, and then moving forward in June, we're just going to have one a month, but that one, like I said, the workshops are free to attend live, and then the recording will go into the database.
That's so cool, because I know a lot on this podcast, I've been talking a lot about, quarterly and monthly goal setting. And so if you are focusing on, say, your social media right now, then you could go and look at those videos and really try to, and give it to your team to learn as well, because that's really, really important. Are they able to do that? If they have a membership with you, could they share one video with their team?
If they reach out to me, absolutely. My goal for creating this platform is really to empower women to be incredible, and just anything that I can do to help that, I am all about. But then again, I'm also a business owner. This is a tech platform. I need to make money. So part of it is a subscription, but I love to give and I love to offer that, as long as people are transparent. So if you're like, hey, I would love to share this, thank you so much for asking. Absolutely. Go ahead.
Perfect. Because I know as a business owner, I run a pretty large team. And so I don't have the time to always learn every single thing in these videos. So I have project managers, involved in certain aspects of my business. So if I'm able to, get your paid subscription and be like, hey, Dora, I need you to handle this. And then she'll watch the videos and she'll create her own processes. It's a really beautiful thing. We've done that with a couple of different programs. It just makes your life so much easier to have this much knowledge at your fingertips.
Yeah, 100%. It's incredible too, because these women, they're not pitchy, they're not salesy, they really do provide value. And a lot of the women are in the platform too. So they know the types of people who attend and rewatch the workshop. So it really is catered to help you grow.
And it's interesting because at least my experience in business has been that women entrepreneurs give the most referrals. That's really how they do. I mean, I have a couple of guys, majority is women, but none of my guys have ever given me a referral. And the women sometimes are giving me 6 to 10, and they make money off of it, which is pretty cool. So I think it's just one of those things that women are just a little bit smarter about sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's going back to referrals, and networking. If you show up and you get to meet people and you get to talk to people, the people that I refer the most are my subscribers, because they show up to everything. And people who consistently show up to the networking, people consistently show up to the workshops, because I'm hearing about their business all the time. So if somebody sends me an email hey, Inbal, I'm really looking to connect with so-and-so, I always have somebody to refer them. And it's usually the people who show up. So even if you're scared to, if you want to grow your business, you have to show up, you have to connect, you have to talk to people, because you want to be top of mind for everybody, right?
And that should be your main focus as a CEO of your company or a founder, is really you want to be networking in whatever way works for you. Because I know a lot of introverts that do it different ways, but this is, I feel like, such a great way for extroverts and introverts to really connect and grow their network without having those hangups about, oh, I don't like talking to people. My husband's one of those. He's that quiet guy, but even he networks for his business, and he's about to be assistant warden of a prison, which is insane. So, and only at 30 years old, which is a whole nother crazy story. Yeah. Usually assistant wardens are in their 50s. So networking is definitely a big thing for both of our careers, someone that was in a professional industry and one that is an entrepreneur. I think networking is really the key to growth, but it's also the key, I think, of happiness, because we discovered after the pandemic, we want to connect. We need humans to survive. We need connections, and what a great place to do it. That's a safe environment and that is supportive of one another. I think that's so cool what you built.
Thank you so much. I think people too, like, not to pick on introverts, right? But I think people in general, like, just think that they can message people on Instagram or like post and then, wonder why their Instagram isn't growing or their community isn't growing or their business isn't growing. And unfortunately, there's so many people who have that same mindset that people are just getting so bored of social media, and they're posting the same thing. In one of our networking events, I do like a fun question. And so I asked like what people's Instagram strategy was. Like, when you log on, do you do stories? Do you do posts? And people are like so short-lived on Instagram now. They're like, I'll usually go to the explore page for a little bit, or I'll just scroll through stories for a little bit. Not a lot of people scroll the feed anymore. So maybe for like 3 or 4, but that's it, So if you want to grow your business, you have to do more than social media. You have to do more than posting, more than engaging, more than, DMs. You just have to do more. And the only thing you can do is to network and meet people outside of that.
I'm so happy you said that, because I found that most entrepreneurs, especially come to my marketing agency, they're like, I want to grow on social media. I'm like, okay, why? And they're like, to grow my business. Like I said, I grew a 6-figure business in 3 months, and it was from networking. If you look at both my business social media profiles, I think we have under 100 followers. And even though we have more than that in clients, and that's because I focused on the networking, the in-person events. And it was really great too, when my kids got school age, that I was able to travel for events. Have you ever done any live events, or is that in your future?
That is in my future. I did have goals to do one in January of 2023, but then I got pregnant way ahead of schedule. So it's pushed out, but in August of this year, I'm planning on starting to do a few things in like Orange County, California, just to kind of see how that goes. But the goal is to just bring everybody together once a year to do an awesome event, like full of just connections and meeting people and strategy workshops and mindset workshops, and just that's in the works.
Yes, I'm so excited, because that's like where magic happens. I used to go every other month, especially once my son got into kindergarten. I have a lot going on right now, so I haven't traveled as much, but I'm going to get right back into it. And I love going to the events, because you get to see those people that you've been communicating with online. You actually get to put a face. Even though you see their profile picture, it's not the same. Even going on videos with people, it's not the same as in person. And just like, I can't tell you, like, I went to Podfest in Orlando a couple months ago, and I had never felt as much as myself as I did in that moment.
So fun.
I did karaoke. I got into a dance battle. I had the time of my life. And it was so cool, because there was people in suits, like power suits. And then there were people like in Hawaiian shirts and hats and crazy colored hair. And everyone was 100% themselves. And we all got along and we all collaborated. And it was like, I love Podfest. I could talk about it all day. But it was just absolutely amazing. And the fact that you're going to be doing these live events in the future is going to be, I can't wait to see it. I'm definitely going, because
that's awesome. Super fun story. So I met like incredible women through Like Minded Collective, just like friends in general. And there was a Powerhouse Women conference or event last August. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go, because like my girls are fine staying home with their dad. And I told like a couple of girlfriends from Like Minded, and one of them ended up being my roommate. One of them ended up coming too. And it was so fun, because like now you're real friends for life, right? Because you met in person, you've experienced this like life-changing weekend together. And it's so cool when like two worlds collide, but that would have never happened if I didn't put myself out there to meet people, right? I could have created this platform and been like, here you go, survive on your own, but it's never going to grow if I don't facilitate relationships myself too. And so I'm so glad that I've done that and met people. But yeah, it's fun. Like those conferences and events are so awesome. I can't wait to go once my son is a little older.
Yeah, I had to stop when my kids were little too. It's just like, it's just really good for your soul. And I actually met, like, I created a mom meetup at Podfest, which was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. A lot of moms showed up, one with her baby, and she was nursing while we're eating. It was like the most beautiful thing. I was like, how cool that we're all, here, and the mom felt comfortable, because I know a lot of moms don't. And it was just, and we've been in touch ever since. And it was just such a cool moment. And I would have met these amazing moms and women and entrepreneurs if I didn't create a little meetup at that event. So
Yeah.
I had never met any of them before. I was a brand.
That is so cool. Good for you for doing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm an extrovert at heart. So these things come a little bit easier to me. But if you are introvert, extrovert, introverted extrovert, which that was me during the pandemic, I have episode 1 on virtual antics. I talk all about the ways of networking, from how introverts that I know do it to extroverts. So go back and listen.
Definitely going to listen to that because I'm an introverted extrovert.
Yeah, that was me during the pandemic. Like, I love talking to people, but I want to stay in my house 24/7.
Yeah.
It just kind of, even when the pandemic ended, that was kind of my whole mood. Now I'm starting to get myself out there a little bit again. But yeah, it's definitely very, very interesting. Didn't know it was a thing till the pandemic. So
yeah,
we're so excited to have you on the show. I thank you so much for sharing everything about your platform. We definitely have to go check it out. So where can we find you in your platform?
Yeah. So it's likemindedcollective.com, and you'll have a link as well that you can put. And then we'll do, if you guys want to try, like I said, it's completely free. The community, the networking, the workshops are totally free. The small group brainstorming sessions we do twice a month. And then we also do expert hot seat coaching twice a month. So I bring in an expert and you can ask any question you want. And those are in the paid subscription. It's $59 a month. But if you use Virtual Antics, you can get your first month for half off. And it's case sensitive, so all capital. And yeah, you can cancel anytime. Just come check us out. Say hi. Message me on Instagram. I love talking to people, especially women entrepreneurs. It's my jam.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming. I'll make sure I put all that info in the show notes, and we'll talk to you guys next time.